Hey fam, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Let's See if StreamYard picks it up. Say it with me now. So say what? Now, I know it's been a while, but here I am to talk to you guys about Kim. Because if you don't know, I am currently reviewing Welcome to Plathville season 7, as well as finishing up season 1, and I will begin season 2 next week. With that being said, something came out during this recent episode that I felt the need to kind of look into. And I didn't even read the entire article, but just in the first little section, I found myself being irritated because Kim and TLC are playing in our face. So I want to read this to you all. I don't have any notes, so I'll be commenting as I go along because I think that we need to know a little bit more about what happened because TLC isn't giving it to us. So I don't have my regular remote, not my remote, my microphone because my hair isn't out. And I spray my hair when it's out with a nice mist of water. So I don't even know where my regular microphone is, but we have this handy dandy microphone right here, and we will utilize it to discuss this. So this is coming from Us a Weekly. It says, "Welcome to Plathville preview. Kim claims ex Barry never checked on her after her DUI. Money issues." Now, here's the thing. This was written on July 28th, 2025. The fact that she has come to our television screens complaining about Barry not checking on her after her DUI. I'm sorry, ma'am, but what is it that he owed you because you were the dummy that decided to get behind a car and operate it knowing that you were inebriated? But let's go ahead and get into this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the first part for those of you who haven't seen it, and also to refresh your memory of what was said on the episode. And then I'm going to go to a previous article that was written that kind of explained what happened at the night of her DUI. Kim Plath reflects on the tough time she endured following her split from husband Barry Plath on this week's episode of Welcome to Plathville, including a DUI and money woes. This is Kim. "I think I'm pretty good at handling my money, but Barry is beyond good with money." This is her at 52, as she's explaining. Um, He has a career, and I spent 25 years supporting him in his career because I've been raising kids for 25 years. Kim, who filed for divorce from Barry, 57, in June 2024, notes that it was a big adjustment to have to handle her own finances, claiming her estranged husband didn't help at all with the transition. Correct me if I'm wrong, for those of you who watch, but when she left, didn't she leave the kids? So what was he supposed to help her with in her transition? She decided she wanted a divorce. She decided to leave, and she quickly got a man after she left. So what was he supposed to do to make her feel comfortable when he, even though I don't like him, was trying to deal with his own emotions? She says, "There have been disagreements that Barry and I've had because I'm hurting financially. Whose fault is that?" And here's the thing, I'm not saying, I do think he should give her spousal support. I do. She should be getting something. But it's not like she's not getting a check from this show. Cuz if I remember correctly, Kim, according to Olivia, was the one who originally got the checks. So why is it that she can't utilize the funds that she's gotten from TLC in order to maintain her while she's going through this transition, right? What made matters worse, what made matters worse for Kim was that soon after she split from Barry, she got a DUI, which derailed her life even more. The U.S. Weekly confirmed in October 2022 that Kim was arrested in Georgia for driving under the influence, property damage, and personal injury. She says, "Early on, after Barry and I separated, I made some bad decisions one night and I ended up getting a DUI. I don't like the fact that she's still minimizing this. I'm going to keep reading this and then I'm going to go to the other article. sharing that no one else was involved in the accident, and I was fine, even though I was arrested for being under the influence. Kim remembers having court fees and lawyer fees because of her DUI, and she wasn't allowed to drive for a year or many months. Her words after the incident, she knows how long it was. She talking about she couldn't remember. You remember how long you couldn't drive for. She also had regular testing to make sure she wasn't under the influence and was sentenced to community service. That was a really hard year for me because it happened right as I was kind of like, starting to, get life established. And I just made everything really, really difficult. It just did. While Kim vows that this is not something she'll ever repeat again, she tells the cameras that the DUI made her even more upset with Barry and how seemingly he left her to fend for herself after 24 years of marriage. I want to get back to that. Let's put a little plug in that. Let's pin it. Oh, it's not a plug in it. Let's put a pin in it. Because I want to read this other article, right? This is from In Touch. Welcome to Plathville's Kim Plath has a criminal history inside her past arrest. Mm. Plath, in April 1991, received a citation for possession of an open container in a motor vehicle when she was 19 years old. On April the 7th, 1991, In Touch confirmed. According to Florida law, an open container means she had an alcoholic beverage while riding in the passenger seat of the car. Plath was found guilty and the case is currently closed. Now, that's not, that big of a deal because it doesn't sound like she was operating the vehicle. It sounds like she was in the vehicle. However, let's take a jump here. Let's go to on June 10th, 2022, Plath was involved in a car crash ahead of her DUI arrest. Okay, are you all hearing me? Keep in mind what I just read from you. That was what she said when she was on the show the other day. When she had her show on Tuesday, she was trying to say, I had a little DUI situation. I didn't get hurt, and nobody else did. It wasn't making it kind of sound like it wasn't a big deal. She didn't say it wasn't a big deal, but she made it sound like it wasn't a big deal. According to an incident report from Florida Highway Patrol exclusively obtained by In Touch, a police officer noted a single vehicle crash in the Port Leon Drive area in Florida at around 11:52 p.m. The officer noted the car was traveling south along the road and made a left-hand turn before they overturned. Do you know how fast she had to be going to make a left-hand turn and overturn her car? That lady was whipping. She wasn't making a left-hand turn. She was speeding and into a turn because how do you flip your vehicle and making a left-hand turn? You're going kind of fast. Okay, let me keep going. Let me keep going. The car eventually ended up resting on its roof in a ditch filled with water. Plath was still in the driver's seat when a witness and another officer helped her out of the car, the report explained. Ms. Plath was already in the back of an ambulance when the officer arrived. The document stated, adding that Plath appeared to be intoxicated and had a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage emitting from her breath and person. Police then screened Plath for a possible DUI violation. I observed Miss Plath had several scrapes, lacerations on the bridge of her nose and facial area, the Florida Highway Patrol officer explained in the report. Ms. Plath had dry blood on her face and blood in her mouth. This is from a woman acting like this accident wasn't a big deal. So your car flipped over and you had facial lacerations and you had a mouthful of blood, but we're going to act like this isn't that big of a deal. And you did it when you were making a left-hand turn and you ended up in a ditch. Ms. Plath was in a cervical collar and was sitting up on the stretcher as she was brought into the emergency room. Ms. Plath was conscious, appeared to be in a daze, and had very red, glassy eyes. Ms. Plath displayed POTUS, PTOSIS. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Droopy eyelids and dilated pupils. In addition to the smell of alcohol on Plath, police observed that she had a very slowly lethargic, uncoordinated movements as she would wipe at her eyes. Plath admitting to drinking two 12-ounce margaritas. Let me tell you something, baby. Let me tell you something, baby, about the margarita. Margarita. First of all, let me calm down. Margaritas will get to me faster than me taking a couple of shots. I can drink a jumbo one jumbo margarita from the right spot and I'm good. I don't need any more. So the fact that she's sitting here saying that she had two, not one, but two 12-ounce margaritas and then she got in a vehicle, I'm looking at you sideways because the margaritas do something. Okay, let me keep going. So she had two 12-ounce margaritas, and police concluded she was under the influence of alcohol and was unable to operate a vehicle safely. She was first charged with careless driving, though the charge was updated to DUI after Plath took a voluntary blood test. On September 3rd, what, okay, wait a second. She volunteered to take the blood test? What, you thought you weren't gonna fail? Lady, you volunteered to do it? Not volunteered. She was told she was asked to do it. And she said, "Oh, I'll do it." Interesting. On September 3rd, 2022, I received the toxicology report from the FDLE lab. The officer continued in the statement. The result of the blood test for Ms. Plath was a 0.161 and a 0.162 blood alcohol content. I completed a warranted affidavit on Ms. Plath for DUI and property damage. It gives the code and issued a UTC for careless driving. Oh, we see. I'm saying all of this because I want you all to see how she minimized this, but what all was entailed on October 20th. Okay, so this happened in June. The accident happened in June. I went back to make sure. On June 10th is when the accident happened, like late at night, almost 12. Then October 20th, October, on October 20th, 2022, Plath turned herself in after a warrant was issued for her arrest in relation to the car accident in June. In Touch confirmed that she was charged with a DUI with the description of property damage, personal injury. Plath was released from jail in the afternoon of the same day she turned herself in. See, this is why you got to act like you understand that this wasn't just I got pulled over by the police and they issued me a DUI. This is you flipped your vehicle over into a ditch. You were injured slightly. You could have hurt somebody else and nothing was said about it to the extent that it should have been on TLC, because TLC didn't release this information that I'm reading right now. These were other people who released it. March 2023. The TLC alum's DUI case was initially closed in March 2023. She was found guilty and ordered to pay $963 in addition to a 9-month probationary period for 50 hours of community service per service online. Okay, here's the thing that I first of all, community service and $963 in addition to whatever else she had to pay is not enough. I have a strong disdain for people who decide to drink and get into vehicles, especially because there are so many different ways now in order for you to get home. Even if she couldn't reach a family member, there's Lyft in some areas, there's Uber in some areas, there's taxi cabs, there's buses. Like, you had other options. You got all those children. You had another option other than drinking and driving. And I can't excuse the drinking and driving, especially because she had so much to say about drinking and driving when it came to her kids. And she was so judgmental of the things that they were doing. Meanwhile, she has her own skeletons in her own closet. Plath's DUI case was reopened, in May of 2023, according to legal documents obtained by In Touch. In a surprising twist, Plath identified her new boyfriend, Ken Palmer, as part of her case. What? Say what? Get in it. Was he with? I'm confused. Okay. The reality TV star filed an order on April 3rd, 2023, to dismiss the impoundment and immobilization of her vehicle, and additionally submitted an affidavit to the Wakulla, Wakulla County, Florida court. She claimed that the car she was driving during the June 2022 incident was completely totaled and that she had two other vehicles in her name. One of them, according to the Plath, was being driven by her son Isaac Plath, while the other was being used by Palmer. The motion and hearing were ultimately canceled, and the case was closed on April 14th. I don't understand what that had to do with anything. I don't understand what that had to do with anything at all. What? We know that prior to this, she said that her lifestyle didn't include alcohol. So now she's, she had grew up with a single alcoholic mother and she hated it and all that other stuff. And she didn't have family and she didn't have a dad and her home life was this and her home life was that. So I don't know. I'm seeing if I see anything else. Okay, on the show, the TLC star reflected on how different her fate could have been if she had stayed on the path she was while still a college student. Okay, this was her talking about how things were prior to. So let's go back to the article that we were first reading. I told y'all all of that, right? I told you how she was in a ditch. I told you how they found her and they took her to the ambulance and they did a test. She volunteered to take the test and all that other stuff. And then she ended up getting arrested or turning herself in after a warrant was released a couple months later. Okay, I told you about it being a hard year and her saying that she is fending for herself after 24 years of marriage. This is what she continued to say when she was talking on the show. There was never a time that Barry came to me and said, I see you're drinking. I see you got a DUI. Are you okay, Kim? Are you struggling with stuff? Why would he do that? That is not his job. You left him even though he didn't want you to. You proceeded to move out and to have another relationship with another man, calling him your boyfriend while you still haven't fixed things with Barry. And I don't like Barry. And here you are having me speak up for Barry. Like, why would he do that when you did what you did to Barry when you left? It's not his job to coddle you because you decided to be a dumb dumb and get in a car and drive it knowing you were intoxicated. Kim gets choked up while reflecting on how alone she felt at that time, alleging that Barry never said, "Do you want to talk? Like, I care about your person." And I'm just wondering, you know, we spent 25 years together. We had 10 years together. I'm just curious if you're okay. He never asked. Why should he? Why should he? Why should he have to ask if she's okay when she did all these things? You announced your separation in June of 2022 after being married for more than 2 decades, right? It is not his job to now look after you when you told him you didn't want to be with each other, you didn't want to be with him anymore. So I guess where I'm going with all of this, because Tisha, what's the point of you being up here and telling us this? I think I'm still frustrated with the way that TLC is deciding to deal with some of these things. I think that it is extremely infuriating that they choose not to really address the issues. And when they do, they brush over it. Because for Kim to say now on this season that she had a DUI, which was something that happened almost 3 years ago, and now she's addressing it, and then to minimize it and not really go into details about it. I'm wondering if it was TLC that decided to make that choice, or if it was Kim wanting to protect herself because she has a current ongoing divorce battle going on with her husband. Either way, it's not a good look to me. It makes me kind of question, like, what is her reasoning for even telling us? Then part of me feels like she told us about this DUI situation in correlation with the loss of her funds. And I don't feel sorry that you spent additional money on an attorney when you caused this upon yourself. No one told you to drink and then get in a vehicle and operate it. And the way that she kind of said it on the show was she made it seem like she was drinking because of everything that was going on around her, rather than just being honest and saying that she was drinking to drink. Anyways, that's all I have for this Say What. If you want to talk about Kim a little bit more, tell me your thoughts down below. How about this? For those of you who have a significant other and or are married and you no, I don't want to say that because that's putting that. Let's say this. Do you think Kim is right or wrong in feeling like Barry should have reached out to her and checked on her after her DUI situation? Put it down below. For me, I don't feel like he needed to, but tell me your thoughts. Anyways, love y'all so much. Have a great one. Until next time.